Hey guys, Analog Man here to show you my round three of um, of the Carta Magica regionals. I actually ended up taking muskets to this, and here I'm actually playing against Jesmon. And the moment he actually hatched that egg, I already knew what he was going to do. And then once I saw that Sistermon, I essentially knew what he was going to play. Here in game one, I honestly managed to get pretty far against him, but at the same time, I already kind of knew how the matchup would be. If he manages to get his evolution line, it'd be basically over for me at that point. So I just essentially tried to set up as fast as I possibly could. Here I evolved into Soundbirdmon, and I do believe I played an Impmon or a blocker of some sort, so I could pass it over to his turn. Here I was debating if I wanted to go Deputymon, but in my mind I knew I had to go for it and see how it went. And here I essentially just milled three of my rookies and one Deputymon off of that into just getting a Beelstarmon. And I do remember my hand was mostly full of certain things, so it was kind of a weird setup, but it did slightly work out. Here, he decided to start swinging for some reason, and I was just like, okay, fine, I'll let through. And luckily, I hit into a fly bullet, and I popped his Biomon. That was a really nice turn one, actually, for me. Hoping that and here he just passes to me to get a Huckmon. He searches for 5 cards. He hits a Sistermon, a Greymon, a Bowhuck, a Savior, and another Bow, and we both just go, "Oh man, you're gonna have to add the best thing essentially in that." I mean, he has a Sistermon and a Bowhuck, so it was a pretty solid pull for him. So of course he grabs the Sistermon, and I do believe he grabs the Bow. So that already kind of gave me a clue that he already had the Savior in his hand. So I just essentially tried to speed it up at this point to try and get to my setup. Here I swing with Soundbird, and I discard this to a Happy Bullet Shower to gain a memory, so I go to 2. Here we flip, and it hits a Huckmon, luckily, so it does die, and then I do get that extra draw 1, discard 1, which is really nice. That actually helped me discard a Gewalt Swarmer, I believe. Or was it a Trumpstar, I believe? Yeah. Oh no, it was actually a Nailbone there, so that actually helped out because with Deputymon, I was actually thinking that I could pop his field, and I do believe I do that. Yeah, here I just end up playing one and just popping his field because I just wanted to keep his board wiped essentially. It did kill my Deputymon at the same time, but it was nice wiping his board. Here, my thinking was that he didn't really have the full line in his hand, so that he couldn't really build up fast enough. But unfortunately, he did actually have it. So here he evolves into Bow Huck, draws again, and I do believe he ends his turn with a Savior and a Sistermon, I believe. Oh no, actually he did go into a Huckmon, and he searches and pulls just the Jesmon, which I believe was the one key piece he needed. Here he was explaining just that his draw wasn't that great from that, I believe. And here it's just I think he ended his turn with a Sistermon, I believe. I remember that this match was incredibly fast since I remember him swinging for about 6 security in about a turn or two. Yeah, here he ends the turn with a evolution, and we already saw that he got the Jesmon. This is where I just basically get destroyed here. I try evolving into an Impmon to maybe draw into something to set up. Did not work out actually because I gave him enough memory to cast 2 specific options you'll see in a second, which were really brutal to deal with. Honestly, playing against this deck is a really it's a very stressful situation because with how Jesmon works and how fast it is, I did post up deck profile of it of my version, and just in testing, it's incredibly fast and can just instantly just go off. And he already has the full line. So if I essentially give him any memory of like if I give him three or more, he will instantly destroy me. So I was just hoping that he wouldn't get the options. My essentially my gamble was hoping that he did not get Delicate Plan, which is an option card that makes it so my option cards do not trigger. And that's essentially the main thing that I wanted to have him hit into. But unfortunately for me, he got the full line, and it's just a really rough match here. Here I think I'm debating if I want to play another Deputy Mon because I know that Jesmon is coming in turn two. So I was hoping that I could mill and then maybe survive and maybe pop his Jesmon next turn. But unfortunately, my first game mills were not that great. So I believe I just ended up just hard playing a Beelstar, I believe. Yeah, here I actually, yeah, I do hard play it and I pass him over to about five memory. Honestly, that was an incredibly bad mistake. Here I was thinking of nail bowling, maybe setting up a blocker, but here it actually was a detriment because I actually did not have a target in my graveyard because I didn't check beforehand, which was on me. That was a misplay on my fault, so I only ended up getting an Impmon and a Beelstar on board. And here I essentially just gave him free reign to destroy me here. And yeah, here he pushes up the Savior Huckmon. And here he, of course, is going to evolve into Jesmon since he already drew into it. Yep, he goes down to two memory, and here he evolves. I believe here this is where he ended up grabbing the Judgment of the Blade, and here we go, the Delicate Plan he plays down, and a Judgment I believe that he just drew off of that draw, and here he just he has enough to basically kill me because with the Greymon, or actually with how much power he has in this swing, he should be able to wipe most of my security. So here he summons a Sistermon Seal and he gains back a memory, and then he unsuspends, swings into a Gundramon. Here I believe he was trying to explain all the effects, but I explained to him I played the deck and I already knew all the effects. So here he swings into the Gundramon. Then my Impmon activates and I mill basically nothing. Honestly, this match my mills were really bad in game one, so I was just wondering if he could swing through. Here he swings again into security, I believe. Yep. And he summons the Blanc, grabbing another card. And then he hits into Soundbird. My security, honestly, as I said, was very weak here. So I just opted to see if I could maybe recover next turn. And unfortunately, even with what I had in hand, I wouldn't be able to wipe his board without him swinging for game. And here he actually did swing. So actually, wait, no, he did not. I think he evolves one of them to pass it over in my turn. Or I believe he played. Oh no, actually no. I think he played an Agumon. I believe. Yeah, here. Yeah, he plays the Agumon to pass me to two. And here I draw and I just look at my hand and I'm trying to figure out if I can even get past the entire board without passing it to his turn. I could, but I would still leave myself up to Jesmon to wipe me essentially. So here I swing, and of course he blocks it with the Blanc, killing my Impmon. Actually, wait. Actually no, he does block. He was debating there for a second, from what I remember. And here I get to draw, discard, and then I mill three cards off of Impmon's effect. And here I basically whiffed into a mat and two Impmons. Essentially, this whole match, I was just milling into all my Impmons, and it really hurt me during the game, which really sucked. Here I'm just trying to figure out exactly how this would work out. Here I would essentially like, yeah, like I just honestly I remember just opting to just go to game two because no matter what, even if I play this, it's not it's just gonna pass over to his turn, and then he's just gonna swing for game. So here we just call it and go to game two. So here, round two, I opt to let my opponent start. Uh, Mainly, the reason why is to allow him to essentially, like, I wanted to see if he would essentially get out his evolution line. Because last time in round one, as you saw, he managed to essentially turbo through into Jesmon pretty fast and essentially swung the board. So here I opted to go second so that I could potentially maybe get an extra draw. Here he drops a Huckmon, and on his search he does get a Bao Huckmon and a Jesmon. So pretty decent draw for, or actually wait, no, that wasn't one. I couldn't see it clearly, but it was not a Jesmon. All he got was Bao Huckmon, and in my case, I actually drew a pretty decent hand. I basically have like all rookies, and then I also have an Ogremon, and since he has an Huckmon on the field, I opt to play an Ogremon here and pop it, and also set up my discard with the Nailbone in Trash now, which is a really solid thing. My spicy tech of putting one in this deck actually did semi pay off in this matchup. I think this was probably the one of maybe 2 or 3 times I even saw Ogremon throughout basically the whole of the tournament. Here I swing into security, and of course I hit a Jesmon. Ogremon dies really hard. Here I just opt to just play a Deputymon, pushing him to 2, and here I get an amazing mill. Here I get Beelstar, I get a Flyball, I get Gawalt, but here I opt to discard the Gawalt since it's not really useful at the moment. But having my Beelstar already is pretty nice setting up. Here he essentially, from what he told me, he had bricked into essentially all of his option cards and all of his level 4s, which is why he opted to hard play the Bow Huck and use the judgment of the blade to kill my Deputymon. I actually was not able to establish one single Deputymon to evolve into a Gundramon for essentially the whole of this game, mainly because of the fact that he had drawn into all of his judgments of the blade. It was honestly really rough how I couldn't establish a board, but but at the same time, it also made it a little bit easy for me to essentially set up my trash. Here, I'm just kind of contemplating on what I want to do, and I do remember I did have another Deputymon, so I opted to just mill again, I believe. Here, I'm still thinking through here. Yeah, this was where I actually decided to just fly bullet his guy because he had already given me 3 memory. So I was like, he has nothing in his hand, so I just opted to just give him the play. Here he just plays a Greymon, and then he evolves it for 3 into Savior Huck, and he does draw into a Seal, which is pretty nice for him. But luckily for me, I have enough memory to pop his board, hopefully. Here I end up, I believe, yeah, making another Deputymon, pushing him to 2 once more, and here I mill pretty decently here. I add both the Fly Bullet and the Beelstar, but I do end up milling my Glaive Memory Boost and my Crania, which really sucks because Crania is a really good matchup for Jesmon. Here, I remember in this case, he wanted to swing. Or actually, wait, no, no. This was we had a misunderstanding there where he thought my turn hadn't ended. Here he draws and then he evolves into a Bao Huckmon, very solid. At this point, since I saw that he already had a Bao Huck in raising, I was already kind of paranoid if he had a Jesmon in hand or he was ready to swing. But surprisingly, he does just swing with another Judgment of the Blade to kill my Deputymon, which really sucks. As I said before, I could not establish a board essentially during this whole game. Here he passes again to my turn using an Agumon, which I honestly found really strange. At this point, I kind of assumed that he had been bricking, so here we had a misunderstanding about the memory because I neglected to notice the seal effect to gain a memory. Here I draw. I think this is the turn when I finally draw into, I believe, a rookie, but at the same time, I believe this was also the hand where I had to hard play a Beelstar, I believe. Yeah, here I opt to play another fly bullet to take out his stack because both Seal is not really an option for evolution with Jesmon because it is a white Digimon, and Agumon and Balhak would be the only ones. So I essentially wanted him to build up his board here. Here, because he gave me enough memory, I was able to pass it to 3 memory. So I knew for a fact that he would not be able to make Jesmon this turn. So I just opted to see what he would do. Here he evolves into a savior, into a bow. My bad. Here he has both a bowhuck and a savior, and it's honestly like my he hadn't hit my security at all like in this entire time because I kept wiping his board. So I just opted to let him do it. Here it's just his camera froze for a second, but that was apparently from a program running in the background. Um, Here, I do believe he decides to opt to swing into my security to start clearing it so that if he were to draw into a Jesmon, he could possibly start hitting for game. Here he contemplates, and he does swing with the bow huck. Uh, and I do remember that the flip was either a rookie or a option card. Here it is a happy bullet shower, so it pops his seal, I believe, so, making it so that his Huckmons are no longer boosted anymore by 2,000, which was solid for me because I managed to set up my board. Here, honestly, at this point, I did kind of assume that he was bricking, so I was not super worried, but at the same time, I didn't like the swings into my security. Here he just hits Soundbirdmon. Really, at the end of the match, you'll see what my security is during this, but it was actually really non-threatening. It was mostly rookies and stuff. Here he passes to my turn with a Bioma, putting me at 1 memory. So here I opt to finally hard play the Beelstar for a ton of memory, which I did not want to do. But here I played a Gawalt Swarmer and wipe his board. I pass it over to about, I believe, 7 memory on him because I think I only had about 5. Yeah, I had 5 in my trash to reduce its cost, so it would still cost me 7. So I just essentially passed it to his turn. But at the same time, I did get a lot of value out of that by popping his entire board. So honestly, I didn't really see that big of a deal here. Here he hard plays a seal and he passes because his hand is literally all options from what he told me after the match. So here, this is when I actually finally get a rookie. For those last like 7 or 8 turns, I had literally no rookie whatsoever. Here, I finally draw an Intmon and Evolve. Here, I swing with Beelstar. Luckily, I don't hit into anything big, so she stays on the field for a little bit longer. Here, I end up playing a Mat because at this point, I actually wanted to recycle some of my stuff, so I decided to add back Soundbird so that I can start discarding some cards in my hand. But here, instead, I do believe I actually changed my mind here. I actually decided to choose an Ogremon, as you saw, because Ogremon would have allowed me to pop the board. Here, Seal swings and hits another Soundbird. My security was really weird, honestly. Here he passes me to 3. I unsuspend Beelstar, and here this is where I start swarming the board slightly. Here I push up the Impmon. I do believe the Entmon after it swings, it got me a really good mill essentially, and I do remember I got at least 2 option cards out of it. Here actually, oh wait, my bad. Actually, this is when I hit the tie where I would set him to 3 memory. So here, seeing that he would be getting 3 memory, I opted to just play Gawalt Swarmer thanks to Beelstar being on the board, and I do end up popping Impmon in that process. I do pass him to 4, but I do get the draws, so that actually really helped out. Here I do discard another nail bone, and then I mill 3, and yeah, once again, all Impmons. Really weird. I don't know why this match was like that, but essentially all I was doing was just milling into Impmons, which was really honestly not great for me. Here I have at least 6 in trash, so my Build Star will cost 6 now. Yeah, here I make sure that my trash is um is not missing any musketeers, and I just here this goes to my turn. Oh yeah, actually my bad. I missed that actually. He just opted to play another tie and pass, and also evolve a I believe that's a Bao Huckmon or a Savior Huckmon. Here I just hatch an egg, and I'm just like, at this point I'm just contemplating how I'm gonna do this. I look again into my trash, and I do see that I have 6. So here I opt to hard play Beelstar. I think putting him to 3, I believe, or 2. Okay, my bad. Actually, yeah, actually to 2. I think that was actually enough to reduce it down by, I think, 7 cost. So here I bring back Soundbird and I believe I have no targets aside from that. So I just end up making a Soundbird for next turn to start discarding my hand. Here, on his turn, I do believe he continues to brick at this point. I'm not 100% sure what his hand was. All he told me that it was just full of options, level 4s. So here he just plays another Judgment of the Blade, and he swings into my Soundbird to kill it. And oh yeah, he does end up getting a draw thanks to the Biomon, because when attacking, he gets to draw 1. Here he's contemplating. Yeah, he ends up just hard playing a Greymon, and then it passes it to me to 3. Thanks to the fact that I have Matt now on board. I neglected to mention that earlier, but playing that Matt actually did help me out a lot. Setting my memory to 3 allowed me to do a lot of plays. Here I do believe I swing into his Bowhuck, because I just want to get rid of his board. Then I swing with the other Beelstar into security, and it does hit a Blanc, which really sucks. Here I just end up opting to I believe just playing another Beelstar for 3. Well, essentially putting him to 2, and then I just fly bullet his Greymon to make sure that his board is clear. And I do believe at this point it should be game. Yeah, this is when he concedes to me. Essentially, this is when he explains to me how essentially bad his hand was. As I said, he bricked into all options and all level 4s, so it was just honestly a matter of time for me to draw into what I needed. And yeah, then we just head into game 3, where it gets even more crazy. So here my opponent opts to let me go first. So here, I know for a fact that game 3 I did draw a pretty decent hand. I was actually worried that with my shuffling that I might brick myself, but here I actually did draw into, I believe, 2 Soundbird and probably an Impmon. Here I think I drew into a Deputymon, but I opt to just hard play an Impmon, putting him to 3 just so I can just set up my milling. Honestly, really solid hand here. So I'm honestly not that worried. I was honestly more worried about what he drew this time. And luckily for me in this game 3, again, he did brick, as he told me after the match. It was pretty rough, honestly. I actually managed to win, I think, in maybe 10 minutes or so, I believe. Um, it was still a pretty close game, but it's just like here he manages to just get like up to, I believe, Bao Huckmon already and a Sistermon. So I was already semi worried here, as he only passed me to 2 memory. Here I know for a fact that I do move up the Soundbirdmon, as I usually do, because I've actually lost games in the past, way back in BT3, because of not raising. So here I swing, I discard, and I gain a memory off of that, going to 3, and swing into security, and I again hit another tie, which is not a great thing because that essentially sets up his memory for him, and that really sucks. Here I swing with Impmon. Luckily, this time I get a mill, and here I get a pretty amazing mill. I get two 7 cost options here, putting my options up to 3, setting up my board pretty fast, which is really great for me here because I do believe I already had a Beelstar in hand, so I was just pretty much ready. Here I pass it again for 2, and here I mill into 3 more musket slash 2 option cards, so that adds another 3 into my set here. I do add 2 of them to my hand, but I do evolve next turn to essentially get rid of them at some point. Here I know for a fact that he did draw into another Judgment of the Blade, because I do remember he did not allow my he essentially bricked into his option cards once more, which is why he's here. He destroys my Soundbird, and thanks to its destruction, I do get a draw off of Demi Meramon, and I do get to discard a. Here, actually, it was pretty rough because I wanted to keep all my options in hand, so I opted to discard a Craniumon, which really sucks. And yeah, here's the Judgment of the Blade, and he's gonna punch right through my Deputymon again, as just like before, which really sucked because actually, as you saw, I did add Gundramon, so it just really sucked that I couldn't set that off. Here he passes me to 3 memory, which honestly for me that was really surprising. Here I hatch, and I hatch the second, and I evolve it to my second Salbramon that I had in hand. Here I opted to just do Deputymon again, hoping that he did not have another Judgment of the Blade. And here I just add a Nailbone and I discard the rest, which was a pretty solid mill. When I saw that I had milled Devimon, I honestly was pretty happy because the previous matches, if you notice, I didn't really mill into my Devimon as often to set up a blocker. So having this set up was really nice, honestly. It was fantastic having it set up. So here, I'm genuinely, I think at this point, I was honestly hoping that he did not have another Judgment of the Blade. So I was just like, okay, maybe I'll make a Gundramon, maybe not, but if not, it's fine. Here he explains that both his Huxmons get boosted, and unfortunately, he did have another Judgment of the Blade, and he does kill my other Deputymon again. He swings with that Huckmon to kill it, and then he uses this one to swing into my security. And as you can see, this is the first hit in my security, and luckily it is my Nailbone. So here I bring back Devimon, essentially making it so that if he were to swing his seal in, it would be a crash for both of us. Here I believe he was contemplating if he would just hard play and pass it to my turn, or swing with seal. Both options honestly would have been valid, but here instead he opts to play another tie, putting me to 2 memory, which honestly wasn't too bad. 3 Musketeers honestly does not require that much memory, so being put at like 1 or 2, it's kind of like, like with green, putting it at 1, it honestly doesn't matter, especially with Soundbird in the build. Like here, I just immediately go to 3 memory anyway. So here I hit a Huckmon, Soundbird dies, and I get a draw off of that as well. And the discard, of course, and obviously I'm going to be discarding a Nailbone so that I can set up. And here I already have, I think about 7. Yeah, 7. So my Beelstar was already 7 cost here. Here I'm contemplating what to do exactly. Here, I do believe that in my hand I did have Rebellion, so I was like, oh no, I can just do this. So I make Rebellion and I discard. Um, I remember at this point, I didn't want to discard that, but I ended up discarding the Fly Bullet just to set up Rebellion. And then here I make it that because he counts as a black, I can play Gewalt Swarmer and I pop both our fields. So that way we both are basically board wiped in this case. Here I do pass it to him for 7 memory, putting him at 7, which really sucked. In retrospect, that wasn't really a good idea because he could have had a full line in his hand. He could have essentially just destroyed me. But here, surprisingly, he did not really have anything, so he hard played a Jesmon for the full cost, which honestly I was really surprised by. And I mean, I'm not gonna look a gift horse in the mouth like that. Like I'm not gonna not just play out my hand instead. So here I just evolve into an Impmon again. Here I'm still contemplating a bit of what I want to do exactly. I look at my options again to see how many I have, and I think later on I do notice that I actually missed a Gundramon I may have discarded, but that's not the case here. Here I hard play an Impmon, putting myself to 1, and I do believe I don't use the effect. I remember I played it so that I could evolve Devimon. And again, I go for the Rebellimon play. Here I discard, yeah, here we go. I discard the Gundramon here, which honestly, since he kept killing my Deputymons, I thought, there's no point to Gundramon at this point, so I just decided to discard and pass with Rebellimon. So if he did end up making a Jesmon, he could just block it and then kill it in the process thanks to the retaliation that lasts until the end of his turn. Luckily for me, he did not have the full line as of this turn. Here he does evolve in the Bao Huckmon, but from what I was told at that time, his hand was still pretty bad. So I do believe he does hard play another thing, or here he does swing a Jesmon. And this is one of the rare times I do believe that I actually just block his Jesmon with the Rebellimon, and they both end up dying. But he does gain back 1 memory thanks to Seal, so it wasn't really that great of a hit. But at the same time, I did lose Rebellimon, so that did hurt my board. Here he does have Seal on board, but unfortunately, because of the retaliation, him losing his Jesmon kind of hurt him as well. And here he passes me to 2 memory. I think here we also had another misunderstanding again. With Seal's memory, I honestly, I keep forgetting about her memory gain, especially with how Jesmon swings. So here, I move up Impmon to swing again, and I swing in, and luckily I do hit a Biomon, and it does get deleted. So here I get to mill 4 cards in the process, which is really awesome. Here I'm deciding what I want to discard. Here I do believe I discard a Happy Bullet Shower since I can't really use it at the moment. And then here I mill into 2 Bill Stars, which I mean, that's pretty good because it puts me up to I think about 5, 10, and I had 14, essentially making Beelstar -2 cost at this point. So I just basically can play one for free at this point, which I do after I recover it with Impmon here. I discard a Nailbone first to recover Beelstar, and it doesn't really matter because at this point I already had 14 cards, so I was essentially reloading the clip as some would say with this deck. Um, Essentially, since I milled 2 of my Beelstars. Here on his turn, I do believe he does push up his guy because uh, his options aren't really that great at the moment. As I said, his hand was pretty bad at this point still. So he opted to just go for it. Here I do believe he's still contemplating a little bit. I'm not sure what exactly he was planning to do here. I was not privy to his hand, of course, so I'd assume that he had something in hand, but with the amount of time he was taking here, I assumed that he didn't have the Jesmon to fully evolve into, especially since his last Jesmon actually died thanks to Rebellionmon's blocking. So here, I do believe he kind of I think he YOLOs it. I honestly, that's what I remember from my memory of this. I'm actually recording this like a day later, so my memory was kind of fuzzy from waking up so early to play in this tournament. So yeah, he does end up pushing up the Jesmon, but the thing is that or the Savior Huckmon, my bad. He does end up swinging into security with it, which I'm honestly okay with here. Here he does end up popping my Impmon, thanks to the ability of Balhuck. Here he swings with Seal, and she does hit a Gundramon, so she does end up dying. And now I have 15 Musketeer cards in grave. So at this point, -3 cost for Beelstar. So next turn, essentially, I'm just going to keep recovering Beelstars and just go off. So I'm assuming at this point he wants to give me as little memory as possible. So he plays for 3 cost and at 0, and I do believe he evolves into a blocker. I remember a Monochromon on board, so yes. So he does evolve into a blocker here. Very solid play because he already I believe he only has 2 security at this point. And honestly, so do I. So here I just play a Beelstar for free. I opt to fly bullet his Savior Huckmon because I just don't want that stack on my board. Um, I do believe I have another Impmon in my hand. Oh, wait, no, here actually instead, well, it's kind of like an Itmon. I use the Glaive Memory Boost to recover back my second Beelstar so I can play it next turn. Here, I essentially just have her on board. So it was pretty touch and go here. I believe his hand is still pretty bad. I think this is one of the very few rookies he did see this game. And he does evolve, but I think at this point, since we both only have 2 security, he's hoping to essentially evolve and draw into Jesmon again, which I do believe he does at probably towards the last turn, but here it's still not looking really that great. Here he does opt to swing with the Monochromon, passing it for 2 memory, and he does survive. He hits into a 1000 Impmon, and of course, the fact that almost my entire security was mainly rookies, and now the fact that I have almost all my Impmons in grave, as I was pointing it out to him at this point. Here it's my turn at 1 memory, and luckily because of the Glaive Memory Boost and Soundbirdmon, memory honestly for me wasn't that big of an issue. Here I activate it, going to 3, and I believe this is when I swing with Soundbird first. I always swing with Soundbird just to see what's in security first. And I do believe I do hit, I think, a Savior Huckmon. Yes. And my Soundbird dies. I draw, and then I discard again. This time, I actually discarded my Ginkaku Promote to set up for the final swing. Here, I just Nailbone and then Ginkaku for game. And yeah, we just call at that point, and we're just like, okay.